In this video, I'm going to show you the way that I boil pasta. This is the way I've boiled it for 40 years. There are so many other ways you can find on the internet. This is the simplest, the easiest, and what I think turns out the best. As you can see here, I chose a small saucepan, and there's a reason for that. Usually when we boil pasta, cook off our pasta, we use a larger 6-quart stock pot or even a Dutch oven. I chose this because it's small and I'm going to be using lasagna noodles. If you notice, they don't fit in all the way, and that helps me demonstrate exactly how this is to be done. We start with cold water. We're going to turn it on high. We're going to put a lid on it and put the lid directly over the flame. Now we're going to turn this flame down a little bit because the flame is so big, heat is going outside the pan rather than into the pan. In case you don't remember, if I've told you, lids do two things. They keep splatter in so that when you're cooking something splattering grease, it doesn't go everywhere, and it traps heat in. That's it. Keeps your product inside or traps the heat so it heats faster. Now that we've got our pan directly over the flame, we're going to let this go. It's going to take about 7 minutes to come to a full boil, and that's what we want. We don't add salt. We don't add oil. If you add oil, it only sticks to the first couple of pieces you take out. If you add salt, what it does is it changes the temperature and the way that the water boils. I have never used anything other than straight water. You can do what you like. This is my best advice. All right, you can see that our water is now boiling. Lift the lid, tilt the lid, let the water run back in the pan and then shake it flat again and set it down on your stove. As I said earlier, the pasta for the lasagna is bigger than the pan, and it's that way with spaghetti as well. What we want to do is cook it till it's soft enough that everything is inside the water. If we were doing spaghetti, we put the entire amount of spaghetti we want to cook and we stir in circles. When you're doing lasagna noodles, you'll do it in a bigger pot and you'll add them one at a time. We're going to want to keep moving them so they don't stick. We're going to limit this to 2 to make it easier for you to see what I'm doing. Now we have a nice boil going. If you push down, you'll be able to feel that the pasta is getting softer. And yes, what's in the pan is cooking more than what's not in the pan, but that's okay. It's almost there. It's almost in the water. This one is a little bit behind. Now we're going to turn them on their side so they're actually in the water better. They're still getting softer. That one broke, although I didn't mean for it to. That one did too. It's okay though. Pasta can be made with broken pieces. In fact, you'd be very lucky if you ever are able to cook all of your pasta for a lasagna without breaking a few. Now, if you look, you'll notice everything is in the water now. Everything's soft enough to be in the water, and it's still boiling. And we will boil it for 1 more full minute starting now. I'm going to turn the heat down so it doesn't boil over. And there, we're at 1 minute. This is where we turn it off, put on our lid, and we let it sit. When cooking lasagna noodles, they don't need to be 100% cooked before assembling the lasagna. In fact, if they're not, it's easier to control them and stack them and let them finish cooking in the oven. If you can get them to 70, 80% done, you're good. This method I'm showing you now will cook spaghetti 100%. It'll cook elbow macaroni, rigatoni, anything else 100%. Now, I ask everybody at this point, how do you know if your spaghetti is done? Some people say throw it against the wall, and if it sticks, it's done. And I say, what if your walls are just dirty and it sticks to the dirt? That's an old tale. It isn't really what you do. If you bite a lasagna noodle or a spaghetti noodle and it's crunchy, you're way undercooked. If you bite it and it's mushy like oatmeal, you're way overcooked. So that's the best way to tell. After you've let it sit in the water for about 15 minutes, you take a couple pieces out and you bite them. Pasta cools very quickly. You can take a couple out with tongs, run some cold water over them, and bite them. And you'll pretty much find out that they're perfect at this point. Like I said, lasagna, a little bit firm, is perfect. So we have 5 more minutes and we're going to check. And here we go. Lift, tilt, shake, flat, tongs. Since we have some broken pieces in here, let's find a small broken one. And here we are. We're going to pick up the whole piece. Toot, toot. That's me tooting my own horn. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. When this goes into your lasagna pan with sauce and cream and your meat and everything, it's going to absorb just enough moisture out of that to finish this. It is 90% done. It is perfect. I do not recommend for lasagna that you ever use oven-ready noodles. It's a 50-50 shot of whether it'll come out right. I find it happens more often than not to turn out correctly. When you're straining the water from your pasta, it is very important to have cold water running next to the strainer, not in the strainer. We do not rinse pasta. By doing this, we allow the cold water to offset the temperature of the hot water we just poured in there. That water is hot enough to hurt your pipes. It can cause leaks. It can cause cracks at joints. You never want to do that. Also, you never want to run cold water into your pasta. You never want to rinse it because it gives off starch. That's why your water will turn white and gray looking. That's good pasta water. There's a lot of flavor in there, and we can get into other things we do with that water. But all you do is strain it out. I leave my pasta in like spaghetti and use my tongs just to lift up each serving, let the water drain off, and then put the sauce over the top. Lasagna, you're going to have to strain. Now, the reason we do not rinse our pasta is the starch. That starch that sticks to the pasta makes the sauce stick to the noodles. If you rinse your spaghetti noodles and rinse all the starch off, you'll see the sauce just runs off. You'll have a red noodle with no sauce on it. So do not rinse your pasta. I don't care if it's lasagna, spaghetti, rigatoni, ratatouille, you name it. That is it. And always make sure to run cold water to offset the temperature of the hot water.